Are you using your savings to pay for your everyday needs? A significant survey out today reveals that rather than living a comfortable retirement, a quarter of the people asked by Aviva Insurance who are over the age of 55 are surviving on £24 a day or less. That's £750 a month, roughly. And we've already had two people talking to us this morning say they dream of living on that sum of money. Many are battling to repay their mortgage at an age when they thought they would be debt-free. So they talked to 10,000 pensioners for this survey. A quarter had just £500 saved. And more worryingly, 40% have saved nothing at all. Simon Rose joins us now. He's from a campaign group called Save Our Savers. They've got a great website if you're interested, simply saveoursavers.co.uk. Simon, welcome to Radio Kent. Nice to talk to you this morning.
Thank you very much.
Are savers protected enough in this country?
I wish I could say yes to that. No, sadly, I'm afraid savers are suffering terribly, as I'm sure your listeners know, from the effects of inflation, which seems to be rising steadily, from being taxed on savings, on which people have already paid tax in large part. They're being hung out to dry when this government was in opposition. I remember David Cameron criticising the then Labour government for not helping savers, saying we have to make a big change. We've got to change from an economy that was built on debt to an economy built on savings, and a country that lives within its means. But I'm afraid to say that nothing has happened to help savers at all. They're in a very, very serious predicament at the moment, by and large. Whatever level you've saved, you will notice that your money is worth less all the time.
What is the one thing that's had the biggest impact on savers? Is it the low interest rates?
Well, I can't say one or the other, because we have a record low interest rate for 2.5 years. We've had 0.5% base rate, as a result of which all savings accounts pay very little, some better than others, but many very little, while at the same time inflation has been climbing. So people are hit by both rising prices and being able to get almost nothing for their money. The Bank of England is supposed to keep inflation under control. It is not doing its job, and it is scandalous that the government is not holding it to account. They appear far more worried about those people who have borrowed too much and are overextended than they do about the many, many millions more of savers, not just pensioners, but people approaching retirement, but even people who are younger, whose money is effectively being stolen from them by inflation.
There's no real incentive, then, to save. Is that the situation we're getting ourselves into?
Well, unfortunately, that is true. I mean, I think people do need to save all through their life if there's to stand any hope of avoiding a really precarious retirement. But at the moment, we're hearing from a lot of our members who are saying just, what's the point? Not only is there no real incentive to save at the moment, but there's no feeling that the government even understands the predicament of savers or is willing to do anything. There's no conception at all that they are looking ahead to the fact that however people approaching retirement or pensions now are suffering, we have a rapidly aging population. And whatever the problem is now, it is unfortunately just going to become more and more serious. And I don't want to be a complete doom-monger, but it's hard to see any brightness here. We have to be planning for, a time when there are far fewer people in work having to support many of those people who are now in retirement. We're going to be living much longer.
Well, the government's solution to that is to make us work longer, isn't it? It's not like they're doing nothing.
Well, yes, okay. But, there has to come a breaking point. People can't keep working forever, and with an economy as sluggish as at the moment, finding jobs at all is getting more difficult. I feel we just need to see rather more planning from the government and really an acceptance that we do need to shift, as Cameron said, from an economy built on debt to an economy built on savings. And I just don't think we can trust governments anymore. I mean, maybe we should do what some other countries have done and insist that the government balances its budget anymore. So it simply can't spend money it doesn't have, because effectively what's been happening is that the government's been running a sort of Ponzi scheme. They've been promising all sorts of things, but they're promising it on the taxes paid by the next generation.
What would you ask the government to do? I mean, if they were to do one thing, and of course, raising the Bank of England base rate would be one thing, but they don't have control of that anymore, do they?
The government doesn't have control in theory, though I suspect, I'm sure there are lots of nods and winks going on.
So a phone call from George Osborne to the governor of the Bank of England saying, come on, mate. Help us out here.
First of all, the Bank of England is tasked with keeping inflation at the government's target. That is currently 2%. What is inflation? It's going to go up to 5% this year, the Bank of England says. So why are they not actually doing their job and bringing inflation down? That would actually help with the cost of things. But also, they're doing nothing to even show that they care about savers. So we've set up an e-petition on the government's website saying, look, while this situation is in force, let's at least have a temporary suspension of income tax on savings interest. In many cases, people have already paid tax on the money that they're saving. Why, when they're losing money through saving in a bank or building society, should they then be paying tax on their losses? It's absolutely, really so unfair. And every saver out there who's listening to me, I imagine, will feel exactly the same. But I bet they don't feel that they're being listened to in Whitehall.
Let's find out what they've got to say. Simon, thank you so much for your time. Really interesting to hear from you today.
Thank you.
Simon Rose from the campaign group Save Our Savers. Their website, www.saveoursavers.co.uk.